Have you just bought a brand new gravel bike or have one for a while now and want to make a few changes to improve its speed, performance and capability and comfort? Well, I've got you covered. After years of testing gear and making plenty of mistakes along the way, these are the upgrades I wish I made sooner. From simple tyre swaps to game-changing components that won't break the bank. Whether you're racing, bikepacking or just exploring local trails, here are 6 essential upgrades that will definitely improve the performance of your gravel bike. Let's dive in. The best upgrade for any gravel bike, and the first thing I change on any bike I test here on the channel, are the tyres. The tyres make a massive impact on how well the bike rides, from the speed, the comfort and its capability when riding off-road. And choosing a tyre, well, it's not easy. There's so much choice out there these days. From the tread pattern to the width, mountain bike versus gravel, it's a nightmare to know where to start really. The best thing to do is to determine the riding you're doing or want to do. Whether you're racing or whether you're bikepacking, those will influence the tyres you go for in terms of weight and tread pattern, and also how chunky the terrain is you're riding. Is it a champagne gravel and nice smooth dirt, or is it really rocky, rooty off-road gravel? And that ratio of road and country lanes to off-road, all those factors will influence the tyre you go for and what will be the best tyre. There's no such thing as the best tyre, but a more ideal tyre setup for the riding you are doing. One big decision to make is how wide a tyre you go for. And the trend is for bikes and tyres getting wider, and wider is generally better for more comfort and more traction when riding off-road. But bigger tyres come with a weight penalty and an aero impact as well. So if you're racing, a narrow tyre might be better. But if you're bikepacking and adventure riding, then a bigger tyre might be the obvious choice. But how big you go depends on how much space you have on the frame and fork of your bike. And you'll probably know this, but if you don't, the manufacturer website will have the recommended tyre size for that bike. And then there's a tread pattern as well, the shape of the blocks on tyre. And these vary massively, and some make a big difference and some don't make much difference at all. Some tyres will have a smooth section down the middle, like the Specialized Pathfinder. That's a good example. And that's a really good choice if you're doing lots of road miles. And a tyre like this has a more aggressive tread pattern, so bigger chunks and more space between their chunks for more grip when it's loose and slippery. This tyre will just dig into that dirt and the mud better than that slick tyre. And what tread pattern you go for depends on, like I said earlier, that ratio of road to off-road and how chunky your terrain is. If you're riding mostly road and champagne gravel, that tyre with a smooth centre section will be a good choice. If you're riding very rough, rocky, muddy trails, something like this would be a better choice. So do your research, read the company's website, blurb on tread patterns, because most companies like Pirelli and Michelin and Specialized will offer a range of tyres. They'll have the fastest option, like the Pathfinder, and then the most aggressive option at the other end of the spectrum. So there are plenty of tread patterns out there that suit all riding conditions. And then if you want an even burlier tyre than a gravel tyre, there's always a mountain bike option as well. And we are seeing an increase in popularity of mountain bike tyres on gravel bikes. And I recently did a video on testing a mountain bike tyre on my MB Mold, and that video is linked above in case you missed it. Once you've chosen your tyres, my next recommendation would be to ditch the inner tubes that came on a bike. Fine on a road bike, but off-road, the risk of puncturing that is super high. So bin those and go tubeless. It's worth the occasional hassle, but these days it's much better. Most new bikes now have tubeless ready wheels, and all your tyres are tubeless ready. And all you need really is, most rims will be taped. If not, you get some tape like that to make sure it's airtight. But like I say, most rims will be taped anyway. And then all you need to do is invest in a tubeless valve like this. I'll put a link to some down below. And then some sealant like this. Basically a sealant that will replace the inner tube, and if you get a hole in the tyre, like a thorn goes through the tyre, this stuff bubbles out, and in most cases when a hole is small, we'll plug the hole and you keep riding, and often without even knowing you punctured. How you install the sealant depends on the type you go for. Some you pour in the tyre before you fit the tyre to the rim. Some have a handy injector which goes over the valve like that, and you simply plunge the sealant into the tyre, and that is the best way for a mess-free installation of Tubeless. And honestly, it's much easier than ever before. Most of the time, the tyre will inflate with a normal track pump or a floor pump, or CO2 if you're using CO2, or even a mini pump in some cases, and definitely worth the small investment in money and time to go tubeless for allowing you to run lower pressures for more traction and more comfort, and really reducing and often minimizing totally that risk of a puncture. And if you're wondering what happens if you puncture with tubeless, how do you fix it? Well, you need a special tubeless repair kit, and I've done a video on that in the past. Simply put, you have a special tool with a sticky worm type thing that you push into the hole of the tyre, where that hole is too big for the sealant to plug the hole itself. And it sounds scary, I know, but honestly it's not that bad, and it's quicker than changing the tyre and putting an inner tube in, which is always a last resort of a tubeless puncture. But honestly, touch wood, the number of tubeless punctures you get is, unless you're very, very unlucky, it's very, very few indeed. Next up, not so much an upgrade, but a product choice, and one I highly recommend, is while you can use road clipless pedals on your gravel bike, and lots of gravel pros do, I highly recommend using a mountain bike pedal. My favorite pedal is Shimano. I've used these since I was a teenager in the 90s. Not these actual pedals, but Shimano SPD pedals, because there are numerous benefits, in my opinion, that I think most people should embrace. Firstly, you have a two-sided pedal, so easier to clip in and get into quickly compared to a one-sided road pedal. The other are the shoes. So this is a city mountain bike shoe, and I use it for gravel racing as well. And you have a 2-bolt cleat there, Shimano SPD cleat, and you have, compared to a road shoe, you have the stiff carbon base for power transfer, but then you have these lugs here, and they make it easy to walk in, whether you're walking through the cafe, through the office, or when you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're hiking your bike packing and trail has run out and you're pushing your bike. And walking in road shoes, as you probably know, is a bit of a handicap, especially on a muddy trail. It's rocky. Walking on road shoes, yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. So walking in mountain bike shoes is definitely the way forward. So that walking convenience and walkability of a mountain bike shoe, why I choose them. Also, they work better in the mud as well. So gravel in the UK in the winter means mud, and these have all that mud clearing space there for mud to fall through, and the cleats work better in the mud as well. So they are easier to use in muddy conditions, or when it's gritty, there's stones and other stuff that can clog up a road pedal setup. So that is my recommendation for pedals and shoes on your gravel bike. And these are Shimano's cheapest pedals. I'll put a link to them down below, and they're all you need. You can buy more expensive version, but they're just lighter. But these, while heavy, work really well, and they're bomb-proof. Shimano pedals, there are other pedals on the market to look and so on, but I use Shimano because they never let me down. So yeah, there we go. Got mud all over, ow, 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 all over my table. Riding gravel bikes off-road can be a bumpy, uncomfortable affair sometimes. And if you want more comfort, other than what big tyres will give you, a suspension stem is a very popular upgrade these days. I've been testing a Redshift, and this USE Vibe has come in for review as well. And these are a relatively affordable way to increase comfort with a small weight increase. They're still very light compared to a normal stem, and just reduce the vibrations that come through the handlebar and into your arms, and reduce fatigue on long bumpy rides. So it might look a bit odd and ugly compared to a normal stem perhaps, but for a relatively easy way to boost comfort by just swapping a stem, they are a bit of a no-brainer, and there are quite a few on the market these days. This is a USE Vibe. I've also been using the Redshift as well on my Fairlight, and there's a few others on the market as well. I'll put a link to some down below. So yeah, it may bring back memories of the old Gerwin Flex stem, but thankfully done much better, lightweight, reliable, tunable with different elastomers for different body rider weights. This one has preload on the top and bottom as well for damping and rebound. So an easy way to boost comfort on your gravel bike if you're finding the going a bit tough. Another possible upgrade item could be the handlebar. Handlebars can impact how the bike rides from the width and very commonly the flare of the drops. This bit here flared out from the hoods here, and the width of the handlebar too. Road bikes tend to have narrow handlebars, so aerodynamics and low weight. But when you're bike packing and adventure riding, a wide handlebar can give you more control, more leverage when riding through corners, and more space between the drops for your bar bag if you're going camping. You've got your sleeping bag just there. These are both in Redshift, and what's nice about the Redshift handlebars, they come in loads of widths for starters, but also different heights as well. So this one has a slight rise, but this one has a much bigger rise. You can see out there. So if your bike is too low at the front, you want a bit more elevation in your handlebar height, then that could be a good upgrade, because yes, if you're racing, you want nice and low area like your road bike, but if you're riding gravel for fun, adventuring, bike packing, then a slightly higher front end can be better from a comfort point of view. You're riding all day, putting less strain on your neck, your shoulders and your back, and having a higher front end via a handlebar like one of these could be a good step. And you might also want a wider handlebar too. These come in all sorts of widths. This is a 44 centimeter, and you might want more flare or less flare as well. So while changing the handlebar, taking the bar tape off and the hoods off can be a bit of a job. It's not the biggest, hardest job in the world, and a bike shop will do it for you. So not the easiest and quickest upgrade on your gravel bike, but one way to tune the bike to better suit the riding you're doing. Those then are the main upgrades I'd recommend considering in the early stages of upgrading or improving or customizing your gravel bike for the riding you're doing. Other popular upgrades or investments include bags, because if you're riding a long distance, you want more space for carrying snacks and spares and clothing over and above what your jersey pockets can contend with. And one very popular upgrade, most bikes will have 2 bolts on the top tube, very common these days, and a bag like this, like a bento bag is quite a common name for it, goes on the top tube either via 2 bolts or with Velcro straps. It then simply opens up. You've got all that space in there for gels, flapjacks, Haribo, your mobile phone, battery, power bank, whatever you want to store in there, and it's easy to access right there on the top tube. Just reach down, grab some stuff. So that's a very popular item to put on your gravel bike, especially if you're doing long rides. And going a step further, or an alternative, is a top tube bag like this from Tailfin. That's Apogura, Tailfin, 2 very popular brands in the space. Other brands are available, of course. And this is a top tube bag that goes underneath the top tube, and the down tube goes there. And this has more space than the top tube bag. Can be used in combination with and have both together, or one or either. And this has loads of space. You put clothing in there, you put your spare tools and other parts in there, inner tubes and stuff like that. More food as well. And on this side you have a sleeve for your smartphone and other bits and bobs. And this simply straps to the frame with quickly strapped. So yeah, very easy. These are available in all sizes to fit all bikes. These come in small, large and bigger. These come in different sizes. Tailfin actually let you measure the top tube and choose the size you need. So these are very popular upgrades for your gravel bike for riding long distance, your bike packing, or you just want more space for your food, because who doesn't get hungry on a bike ride? I know I do. So yeah, those are definitely worth considering. And those then, I think, are some of the main things I would consider looking to invest in, to customize or upgrade or better tailor your bike for the riding you're doing. And what you go for depends on what you're doing. The racing focus is another kettle of fish indeed. I'm more about us regular riders riding for fun, enjoyment, for bike packing. It's less about racing, average speeds, FTPs, more about riding for fun and experiencing new landscapes and just amazing ability of the bike to take you wherever you want. And that's why gravel bikes are so good. You can ride everywhere, over any terrain, and these products will help you do that, give you the bike to deliver you that performance and capability to allow you to go anywhere. I'll put links to all these products down below if you want to find out more about them. None of these brands have sponsored this video, totally impartial, just based on my own experience of testing products for many, many years. And do let me know what are your favorite upgrades or products for your gravel bike by dropping a comment down below. But that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again very soon.